WTF, that's all it is. WTF. Let's go talk about it. WTF, wind, trajectory, the fundamentals of marksmanship. That's what it takes to get a hit at long distance. So let's talk about that. WTF, the wind, that's our W, number one. It's our most important variable. And it's one of the first things we're going to do when we get to our firing line. We're processing what the wind's doing. How do we do that? Well, we see what it's doing to the indicators around us. We hear the gusts and the flow in our ears, and we feel it on our body. As well, we have something like a Kestrel weather meter to where we can read the wind to within better than 1 mile an hour, which is our goal. That's going to be what gets us a hit. Next question we have to ask, are we going to hold or are we going to dial? Well, in my case right now, I'm going to hold. I want to be dynamic because right now the wind is dynamic. It's dropping down to 5 miles an hour. It's gusting up to 11, 12 miles an hour. That's a big shift. So I want to be able to move with it. As I hear it change, as I feel it change, as I see indicators downrange around my target, I'm going to be making small fine-tuning adjustments to my hold so I can get that good center hit. WTF, number one, the wind. Next up, trajectory, or the elevation we dial on our scope to hit that particular target. Two questions we have to ask. Known distance target or an unknown distance target? How did we determine that? Once we have the range for the target, then the trajectory should be a given. It shouldn't be a surprise what you have to dial on. If you have to figure out what the hold is for elevation, you haven't done your homework. Prior proper planning. Couple things you can do, data books, you got charts, you got your records. Ballistic computers, you can take the information from a saved favorite, but it still means you have to put in the work. We look at the wind, we determine what we're going to do. Next thing comes our elevation. What are we going to dial? Are we going to hold? Maybe it's a quick snapshot and we're going to hold the reticle. You should know that information up front and you should be able to correct for it. Wind, trajectory. Next thing is the fundamentals of marksmanship. The last thing, the fundamentals of marksmanship. How we line up behind the rifle, getting straight and square, shoulders across, bringing it back into the shoulder pocket and loading the bipod. It's not a heavy load, we're just taking the slack out. Why do we load the bipod? Because recoil management matters. It puts the barrel in a position to tell the rifle where the bullet's going to go. So when you fire this rifle and it recoils, as long as you're consistent managing recoil, the bullet will go in the same place. So the wind, we know we're going to hold the wind. I'm going to be holding into the wind 3/4 of a mil. Our range, 450 yards, 2 mils on the scope, using a 6.5 Creedmoor. Fundamentals of marksmanship. Locate the target. Adjust parallax. By getting straight behind the rifle, we take care of our natural point of aim. Sight picture is determined by the setup of the rifle. Edge-to-edge clarity, parallax out of the system. High magnification scopes, you have to make sure you dial that out. Then breathing. We know we're going to break at the bottom of our breathing cycle and we're not really going to worry about it much. The next fundamental, trigger control. Pad of the finger, 90 degree. We want our fingernail pointing out. We're supporting the rifle with the firing hand, bringing it back into the shoulder pocket. Support hand supports both the rifle and the rear bag. We set up on the target. Then the last thing, follow through. Follow through has two parts to it. A physical part where we hold the trigger to the rear and a mental part where we follow the round to the target. We want to see the results of our shot so we can correct or make adjustments. Wind may change, some variable may creep up and cause a miss. We want to be able to see that and immediately adjust. So, pad of the finger, 90 degree, straight back on the trigger. Wind taken care of, 3/4 hold, trajectory, elevations dialed on, fundamentals of marksmanship. Impact. 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 Right there. WTF.